lining paper, which you can buy from any general store. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you the techniques on how to create comets, Milky Way and stars. We're going to be using this, which is a children's acrylic. It's a black acrylic, and this will be able to show you the techniques as they actually happen on the paper. You may need to water it down slightly. We're going to be using a medium, and I've already mixed it. Right, this is our acrylic paint. We've actually mixed it up with our medium. When you come to mix your glow-in-the-dark paint, we would suggest you use a mixture of 1 part paint to 2 parts medium. We suggest you use a spoon. Because of the fact that you're not going to be using a lot of paint on your ceiling when using the splatter technique, it's best to use small amounts, mix it up as and when you need it, then you're not going to waste any. This nail brush within your kit is what we're going to use to create the splatter technique. As you notice, this brush has got a flat head and its bristles are quite firm. What we'd like you to do is hold the brush in your left hand if you are right-handed, and using your thumb or your fingers you're going to rub across the top of the bristles. What this will actually do is it will move the paint off the bristles forward in a splatter effect against your ceiling. We do recommend that you purchase a set of goggles for working on the ceiling. This is purely because of the splatter. Droplets will fall, and what you don't want to do is get them in your eyes. So, getting back to the nail brush, we're going to dip this in our paint, and all you're going to do is place it down so the front end of the tips are actually on the paint. You're not going to push it directly in, because what this will do is it will just clog up all the hairs along the brush. So let's start. Here's our paint that we've already created. As I said earlier, we have mixed it 1 part paint, 2 parts medium, and this is something you'll do with your glow-in-the-dark paint. Take your nail brush, press it down, and what you will have is a very small amount of paint resting on the top of your bristles. With the motion that we talked about earlier, taking your fingers or your thumb, rubbing it across the top, we're going to create a splatter across here. It's a very simple technique and very easy to learn. All I have done is move my nails back across the top of the bristles, and what we've done is we've created a splatter. What we intend to do is create a splatter that can resemble the Milky Way. So by taking your brush and running it across roughly about 2 to 3 inches away from your ceiling, you will create a fine spray. As you can see, this spray is roughly about 2 inches wide in diameter, and there are slight darker patches within the spray. This is something because every time you spray, more paint will actually leave your brush. What we'll do is we'll go over this a couple of times. Now what we want to do, because we're actually working with a cloud, a dust cloud or the Milky Way, we want to be able to get thicker areas within our spray effect, and to do that we will move the brush upwards and downwards across the path. So by doing this, creating a snaking pattern, what that actually does is it gives this effect of depth and movement. Now, because we're only working 2, 3, 4 inches away from the ceiling, we're getting this band. What I'm going to show you now is by working further away from your ceiling, roughly about 6 to 8 inches, what you will actually get is a larger spray pattern. We're now looking at 4 inches compared to 2 inches, and again you'll have thick blobs, fine blobs. This is basically the first set of blobs are normally the thickest because it's actually leaving the top of the bristles. If we wanted to get it really close so we get a very fine tight line, or a pretty tight line, we work a lot closer, normally about an inch away. So again, working about an inch away, what we're actually doing now is creating a fine line. As you can see here, we've now got a fine line roughly about half an inch compared to 2 inches, compared to 4 to 6 inches. This will work the same way using the glow-in-the-dark paint. The nail brush is used purely for this technique, and what you want to do is create background stars as well as Milky Way and things like that using a fine spray of glow-in-the-dark paint. So that basically is a technique behind the splatter.
Hello, budding star-selling artists. So I know I said you wouldn't have to listen to me anymore, but I am, as I'm editing the video, I'm realizing that there is something I need to clarify. So you are stuck with listening to me again. So in the video, Alber mentioned using 1 part paint and 2 parts medium. Well, what in the heckins is he talking about? What does he mean, paint and medium? The paint. So the paint is available on our commercial website, which is GloMania.com. As a star-selling artist, though, you will actually be able to, if you so choose, and I don't know why you wouldn't because it's cheaper, you'll be able to get an account on our wholesale website, which is glowinthedark.biz. That's also our corporate website, but glowinthedark.biz is our where you can buy directly only if you're buying wholesale quantities, and there you will be able to buy the paint. It is GID is what you're probably looking for, although there are other effects that you can do with other paints. But typically, star-selling artists are looking for our GID paint. It stands for glow in the dark. The I means invisible, and because it dries clear. So our paints, the paint dries clear. It might be like a blue paint or a red paint or a green or aqua or pink or whatever, but it's going to dry clear and then glow the color that you want so that it's totally invisible in the day. So you can do these star ceilings and you can do them in your living room, and no one is going to see them in the day. They're going to be totally clear. I mean, you'll see it a little bit maybe if you look close, especially if there's a lot of sunlight, because it's going to supercharge the paint, because remember that UV is what charges the paint, but you're mostly not going to see them. So you're looking for GID or our MX24. MX24 only comes in 5 colors, but it's a brighter paint. It's like our premium paint. So if you really want a bright effect, there's blue, aqua, lilac, which is purple, green, and white in MX24. And then GID, there are, I think, 7 colors or 8 if I can count. There's all the colors I just said, plus there's also orange and red and pink. So I guess that's 8 colors of GID. We also have GDV. The V stands for visible, and that you can see in the light and the dark. So if it's like red, then it would be red in the light and also red in the dark. So GDV you would use if you wanted your mural to be visible in both light and dark. Whereas GID, which is typically what you're doing, or MX24, when you are doing a star ceiling because you don't want it to show up in the light, you're using the ones that are invisible in light and only visible in the dark. The medium is also available both on glowmania.com at full price, or for you special humans who are getting the wholesale discount, it is available on glowinthedark.biz behind a wall where you have to sign up and have a wholesale account. So you can buy the medium, and then you mix 2 parts of the medium to 1 part of the paint. It makes your paint go 3 times as far because the medium's not as expensive as the paint, but really it also makes it thinner. Now, if you're going to do it in an airbrush, which some of our artists do, then you're going to actually mix it up even further. Like you might go 10 to 1 to get it thin enough to go through the airbrush needles. So